welcome back to the Podiatry Marketing Podcast. With me is my co-host, Big Jim McDonald. So, Jim, how are you doing today?
Little Tyson, I'm feeling great. I think we're going to have a great talk today about, for the record, I'm like 5'9", 140. I don't know, Tyson, you're what, like 6'1", I don't know, 210, I don't know.
Yeah, the weight's probably right. I think I used to be 6 foot. I may have shrunk just a little bit. Just over 6 foot with my orthotics. Okay. But I usually tell people,
that's what matters.
Just 5'11". It's easier. That way, it's all good if you underestimate your height and people meet you, they go, oh, you're taller than I thought. But when you see people and they go, oh yeah, I'm 6'2", and they're short, and I look at them, I go, but I'm only 5'11", and you're shorter than me.
Yeah, I mean, I take some solace in what Tom Cruise is like 5'4", 5'5" or something. So I would tower over him, so I feel good about that. But yeah, just that 5'9", 5'10" range, no shame in that at all.
Yeah, I did read once that, I don't know if it was Sylvester Stallone or it was Tom Cruise, and they said something about they deliberately had shorter actors work with them so that they looked bigger, or at certain times they'd actually stand like on a box or something to look bigger than what they were.
Well, you think about Rocky IV. I don't know if you remember that one, the Ivan Drago, Russia versus USA.
Yeah.
Rocky. Ivan Drago Dolph Lundgren looks like he's about 6'5", but I think in reality he's 5'11" or 5'10" or something.
So he is. I thought he was like almost 7 foot tall based on
He might be
Rocky.
bigger than that, but he looked huge in that movie compared to Sylvester Stallone because he's so small.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I didn't mind that. I liked all the Rocky movies. We're not here to talk about movies, which sometimes we do get carried away with. And we haven't made a big reveal about the Matrix, but we won't go there because we'll get right off track. So today we are talking about LinkedIn. What aspects of LinkedIn did you want to talk? Because you made mention of it last week.
Yeah. So a lot of the kind of previous social media channels, whether it be Google or Facebook, we talked about how to use those to look for prospective patients, to advertise on those platforms a bit. Also Google Business Profile, we've talked in depth about how you can use those things to really attract patients. I would say for most people, like LinkedIn is more like kind of an organic or the kind of free channel for professional networking. There's a significant amount of doctors, both other podiatrists, other specialties that do spend time on LinkedIn. So building up your network on LinkedIn is probably more the priority than, trying to get patients to make appointments through the platform.
Yeah, never would have even thought about using LinkedIn for patients, but I really tell podiatrists you need to connect, and it's a great networking thing for, like you said, meeting with other professionals. But I used to use a lot to try and connect with local journalists in the area, because if I could maintain a relationship with them, when all of a sudden a foot story came up and they're going, oh, I need a podiatrist, straight away, I'd be top of mind and go, oh, this is podiatrist who says that I'm awesome all the time. So that's how I used to use it.
No, that's a perfect example. It's more for top level awareness of who you are and that you're in the local community and we talked about this in the past a little bit, what your expertise is within podiatry. And it's not something where you have to be posting on it every single day. One post a week or a couple posts a week can be helpful. Yeah. I think it's also a good thing to engage in other people's posts that either you're friends with that are in your network, but also people you want to get to know a little bit better. And it's not in a creepy way. It's just liking their posts, or we're not advocating like LinkedIn stalking here. Yeah. But at the same time, if there's someone that either for they'll meet in real life, or maybe they're a state away or a province away where you do respect their work, it is a way to get to know somebody either in your profession or in your local area that you would want to develop a professional or potential partnerships and such sometimes come from platforms like LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, some of the best articles I've read have been uploaded to LinkedIn and you've read through them. But I think it's great when you read something from somebody, whether they're in podiatry outside of our profession, if you read something or you see something that somebody's doing, sending them a small message and not trying to sell something to them or say, hey, you should just use me as your go-to podiatrist. Because like I've got to the point now, whenever I get someone that wants to connect with me, I look at who they are, what they do, I click accept. And if I get a message from him in the first 60 seconds and it's them trying to flog something off me, I just shut that down so quickly. So I think it's one of those things where you reach out to people and it's build a relationship over a period of time, especially if you really want to connect with that person, is give it time to build.
No, that's a perfect thing. I think at the beginning, LinkedIn was very, I would say it was spam free, but it was like it was something where people knew what it was, how to use
Yeah.
it. And then marketers, other people really are using different types of automated bots and other ways of just like automatedly trying to, I get them all the time myself. Like I get 10 a day of some marketing agency that sees that I help podiatrists doing marketing. And now they want me to help. They want either want me to have them send me clients or they want me to send them
Yeah.
clients. It gets a little much. So I just usually don't even engage with those folks. But you did bring up a good point there. I think there's different types of content that can be shared on LinkedIn. You and I are more in the content creation game. We're making videos, we're making podcasts, we're trying to help educate podiatrists about topics like marketing. And obviously you have some other endeavors with your podiatry legends, but there's also the path of what we call curation. And that's something you touched on there. You find a great article on a topic within podiatry. What you can do is write a paragraph or a couple of sentences why you thought it was a
Mm.
valuable article, and then sharing it on your own LinkedIn. It's not going to probably be seen by every single person that you've connected with, but enough people will see it that maybe they're going to respond to it or give their own feedback. Or I've seen people put in, obviously no personal information for the patient on there, but x-rays of a procedure or almost like mini case studies on LinkedIn with people showing before and after, or people critiquing different types of surgical techniques or level types of treatment. So there's a lot of different ways to go about and the types of posts you put on LinkedIn. Like I said, as long as you're not sharing personal information of patients, that's obviously super important, but it is a way to facilitate conversation and build connection with both peers in the profession and also people outside of podiatry.
One thing you said there I thought was really important when you said not everybody's going to see it, but the person that wrote the article or posted a photo, when you share that, they will see it. And that is the important part. If I read somebody's article, I thought, wow, this is really good, and I share it, a lot of the times you'll get a personal message from them saying, oh, thank you for sharing that. Or they'll comment underneath, oh, thank you for sharing it. And that's what I mean, where if there's certain people that you do want to connect with, it is one of the best. I think LinkedIn is a great way for connecting with other professionals. If you have a look at your whole professional referrer list that you have, how many of them have you actually gone onto LinkedIn to see if they're there and sent them a message? Yeah, every GP, are they on LinkedIn? If they are, why aren't you connected with them? It's an unutilized resource. And it's surprising where, yeah, I never did it when I actually had my podiatry clinic. I didn't utilize LinkedIn as much as what I should on that side of things. I did with journalists, but I didn't with other professional referrers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of people are using LinkedIn more as a broadcast
Yeah.
tool. Like I have a message and I want everyone to see my message, but really like you're going to move a lot further and make more connections and make more meaningful connections when you don't have to be like spend hours a week on this, but when you are engaging with other people's content, giving your feedback or thanking them for sharing it or liking, it's almost also like it's not too dissimilar from Google reviews where if someone does like a post of yours or does have a comment, start a conversation about it. Or if someone thinks it put up an x-ray and your procedure is the wrong one to do, like it's a chance to engage in a civil way to build community and just really be a part of this overall community, as opposed to, like I said, it's more about engagement than it is about
Yeah.
broadcasting.
So are you indicating it's good for, say, a podiatrist to start with, if they haven't used LinkedIn a lot, to comment on what other people are doing and engage with them at their level? Then once they get their confidence up, is then start posting their own information with their opinion, or post information and ask a question?
Yeah, there's different ways to approach that, right? I think there's being connected with other individuals like in your profession is one way of doing it. And like we talked about previously, also people in your community, but there's also like brand pages or publication pages. For example, in podiatry, like Podiatry Today, APMA, ACFAS, I'm sure the Australian Podiatrist Association or other groups you're
Yeah.
associated with, Tyson, have their own pages there on LinkedIn. So they will sometimes share information. So it's by you liking it or making a comment on for me, it'd be like the APMA. If there's some initiative I think is very beneficial, or I like a piece of news, like writing out a sentence or two along with my like, it gives me a bit of visibility in other people as well. But it's just a matter of figuring out what type of information, like we talked about, identifying where your area of expertise is and how you're being like super strategic, but like you don't want to just try to do all the things in LinkedIn. Maybe it's first you just want to focus on reconnecting with some of your podiatrist school classmates, or reconnect in a genuine way with your residency mates plus some of your attendings. there's different ways to gradually build up that network of people. But you'll notice though that there are these different levels of the connections, right? Once you have the 50 of your podiatry classmates that you're friends with, now they have a one level connection. You're away from 50 more. Each of them have 50 more podiatrists that are connected to. So it's that kind of network effect that LinkedIn can provide. Like we talked about previously, like not everyone's going to see every post that you do, but just starting small, connecting with 5 people, having genuine conversations or sending them messages about, hey, I'm on LinkedIn now, I'm practicing here, I'm doing this, like, how are you doing? That's much more effective than trying to blast or broadcast your message to a bunch of people.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot of what you should do. Do you have any what you should not do on LinkedIn? Do you have a list?
Yeah, it's like we talked about. The first list is, don't expect this to be like a patient, like appointment generation tool. Like it just either from an organic or a paid perspective. I think, yeah, maybe if you connect with enough local businesses and enough people in your professional network, maybe that could lead potentially to some patient referrals, but it's really going to be tough to nail down whether that came from LinkedIn or not. So if you're really expecting this to be like patient revenue generating from day one, like you're going to be sadly mistaken. Also, on the paid side, it's just going to be way too expensive. Some of the targeting can be interesting. I don't know if you have most podiatry appointments or new patient visits, the cost you're going to be paying for per click is going to be significantly higher than you would pay on something like Google Ads. For example, on Google Ads, you're maybe looking somewhere between, depending on where you're located at, like somewhere between $5 and $10 a click to get a potential patient. The targeting is more based off of what someone's profession is, or you can do locations and things like that on LinkedIn, but people aren't really looking to receive an ad on LinkedIn about make an appointment, or they're not really even like casually looking for podiatrists to take care of their foot problems on LinkedIn, most likely. And these are much more expensive. You're probably looking at somewhere between $20 and $40 per click on LinkedIn. So this is really more for like people that have high dollar businesses. If you're a podiatrist in the US that has like an imaging center, or there's some kind of high dollar B2B type opportunity that you have that you want other podiatrists to know about, that's something where LinkedIn might make sense from an advertising perspective. But just for patient generation, or even just like getting your message to more podiatrists, you definitely want to avoid paid channels on LinkedIn.
Yeah, when you said there about, and you said it right from the start, that LinkedIn is not a place where you're probably going to find your patients hanging out there going, oh, is there a podiatrist here that I can make an appointment with today? But the professional connections that you make over a number of years, like I know when I was using it here in Cairns and I'd connected with different journalists, and the boss of, say, the radio stations and the Chamber of Commerce and all those connections that I did find, a lot of those people, they did become patients over a number of years. So to me, you can get patients from LinkedIn, especially in your local area, but it's the long game that you're playing with them. It's like you're there when they need a podiatrist, you'll become top of mind because you've been actively in their life.
No, for sure. That's the reason why I put our podiatry marketing podcast videos onto LinkedIn, is that I just want to show people what we're doing in an authentic way. We're trying to educate and help people in our profession market their practices and have successful practices. And if every other post was me saying, okay, now, and it's important to know that you're in a business and I'm in a business that can benefit from some of these things, and just being transparent about it. If every other post is me saying, hey, let me do your website, hey, let me do Google Ads, like I will be tuned out very quickly, because people realize that. But you have to bring the value like we have with this podcast, so people can either learn about it, choose to do it themselves, or in the future, if they want some coaching, they'll come to you. And if they want some services, they know where to find me. So it's finding that right balance of transparency and also just being genuine and authentic about the type of information you're sharing, whether it's with other podiatrists or people in your local community. It is a way to showcase your expertise in a kind of authentic way.
And like I said before, and it is the long game. Using LinkedIn, it's constantly, like I've been posting stuff on LinkedIn now, say as a business coach, just for podiatrists for a number of years now. And I will still get people that will send me an email and say, oh, I read an article on LinkedIn, for example. I was wondering, do you do business coaching? And I go, yeah, I do. And I'll direct them to my website. They go, oh, I didn't realize that information is on your website. But on my website, it has business coaching. So it's one of those things that whether it's LinkedIn or other platforms, you've got to constantly be putting your information out there and knowing that they might see it 10, 15, might be 50 times before they may connect back with you in like sort of real terms, not just a comment, some form of engagement. But I think you just have to keep putting yourself out there. Just joining LinkedIn and sitting back and doing nothing is not really joining LinkedIn.
It's that combination, like you talked about. It's like the combination of awareness that you do exist and you do provide a certain type of service, but it's also just building trust over time. Like you are a reputable person. You do have this, for example, for you, you do have your podiatry business owners club that you pay a lot of attention to, that you're attentive to the needs of those people in that group, and they would 100% vouch for you there. But if people don't know about it, they don't know to go there, or they don't know about that I provide websites, Google ads, and those things. Like, and you just do this one-off every 6 months. I post, hey, I'm the podiatry marketing guy, or hey, I'm the podiatrist in your local area, right? There's no consistency there. You haven't built awareness over a long period of time, and therefore there's nobody that really necessarily trusts you. So it's the same thing with patients or local businesses in your area and potential referral partners, whether they be professional referrals or the non-professional referrals like we talked about.
Yeah, almost like helicopter marketing. When I know some businesses, when they're quiet, they market their business. And then once it gets busy again, they stop. And then it drops back down. Once it gets quiet, they market again. And that going up and down uses so much more energy. Where if you're just consistently marketing your business, you don't tend to have the same ups and downs. And I find LinkedIn is the same. The more I'm just consistently on there, and like you said, you don't need to be on there for hours. It could be 15 minutes a day, just reading some posts, making a few comments, might upload something yourself a couple of times a week. And that's all you really need to do to maintain those relationships.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes a day or maybe an hour a week. It's just a way to network in a quick and effective and efficient way, instead of having, especially in the past, in the last couple of years, it's been a little tough to get out to in-person events. And it's almost like sometimes having almost like a mini conference or like a mini speaking gig on a consistent basis. That kind of platform of LinkedIn provides that. But I think you talked about trust and engaging with other people's content and having it be authentic are hugely important on the LinkedIn platform.
So if somebody does not have a LinkedIn account, is there a couple of steps? Somebody might be listening to this and gone, actually, I'm not even on LinkedIn, or I am on LinkedIn with 4 people. I've just held up 3 fingers, 4 people. Is there a way that they should get started if they don't have a LinkedIn account?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think to get started, obviously go to LinkedIn.com.
Yeah, don't go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn.
Make sure you have a good professional looking profile photo. You don't want something like you wearing your hoodie, or it is more professional social networks. You want to try
I'm so glad you said that. I've seen some photos, they have the LinkedIn photo and it's a photo of their cat. And I'm like, no, I don't want to connect with you. Or they're there and they've got their hand sort of covering their face, looking at something, or it's dark and shadowy. And I'm going, you look shonky. I don't want to connect with you. So good photo. I like that. Good start.
Yeah, good photo, and fill out your bio. Make sure that your resume, your LinkedIn resume is filled out. And I would say initially just focus on that personal profile. There are ways to make a profile for your clinic as well. But I think that for those first steps are obviously seeing who you're connected with already. Like I talked about, go back to your podiatry classmates. You can look at them, search for them on their search feature there in LinkedIn. Look for your residency classmates, look for attendings, look for other people like within podiatry that you're close with. And then also, like you talked about, Tyson, your non-professional, maybe your local professional network as well. What primary care doctors are you working with? What physios or physical therapists? What's the running shoe owner? Is he on there? Just building that out slowly. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be like blasting 200 people on day one and expecting the clouds to open up, the sun to come down and to shine good graces upon you and your clinic. But maybe it is just 5 people you haven't reconnected with in a while from your podiatry school class, and sending them a personal note saying, hey, I'm checking out this LinkedIn thing. I'm practicing here, doing this kind of work. How are you doing?
I was going to ask you about that,
about
when you connect with people, the importance of putting a short note, because when you go connect, it says, would you like to send a message with it as well? I always prefer that myself. When somebody says, I want to connect you, and even if they say, I'm a podiatrist that such and such, or just give me something, I feel it's a little bit more authentic than, oh, they saw my picture, connect.
No, 100%. You need to have, and I think also the first email can't be some kind of ask. Like it has to be like a genuinely wondering how
Yeah.
they're
Can I have
doing
your
or like
kidney?
what they're up to. Yeah, exactly. Going for the
I
kidney on the
know.
first
It's terrible,
LinkedIn
that.
message is probably going to be a low
Yeah.
hit rate on that. But yeah, so like just those genuine messages can be helpful. And then as you over time grow out those people that you know directly, at some point your network will probably end at
Yeah.
some point. Then you'll have all those second level connections. And maybe there's someone that you're currently not linked up to or linked into. And you can talk to that friend or that connection about that person. Say, hey, I saw so-and-so wrote a great article about hallux limitus or big toe joint pain or something like that. I would love to just talk with that person about this subject. And having that warm connection is a way to also build out your network even further. You can jump past that a lot of times. And if you do say, hey, I know Tyson Franklin, I saw he's a connection of yours. Like, I really like that you did this article. That's another way of doing it. But it's whatever people are comfortable with. And there's no necessarily a wrong or right way as long as you're not spamming.
Yeah. I was going to say the door might open wider if you don't mention my name. Just joking. Partially joking. So I think this has been good. It's information that, like I said, when we talk about LinkedIn, we know it's a professional connection and it's not specifically about attracting patients. But I think the long game of the people, I always say, it's like the saying on my back wall, the next connection you make could be the one that changes your life. And if some people can't see the video, it's printed on my back wall of my office. And I just think that is so true. The next connection could be the one that changes your life. And I've had people on the podcast that I've met purely through LinkedIn on the Podiatry Legends podcast. It's, to me, you've just got to open yourself up and connect with people in a professional way, get to know people over a period of time. It's no different to how you and I first met, then connected. And now to me, you're just Big Jim.
I won't call you Little Tyson
No.
again. That was a little bit of a low
that was
blow
a really
there.
low blow. Yeah, yeah. Don't call me that. That's what's funny is my all my brother's friends and I call my mum. We call mum Big Trish. Not that mum's big, but I'll very quickly tell you a story. My brother is quite large, 6'3.5", big dude. So when he was at uni, when he was doing dentistry, he used to talk me up all the time to his friends about, because I used to play football and I was rough and rugged and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I turned up at the dental school for them to meet me, and I walked in. They said, "Oh, who are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm Tyson." I said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Tony's brother." They went, "You're Big Ty," because everyone used to refer to me as Big Ty. So from that point onwards, they used to call me Big Ty. And then when they met mum was just automatically Big Trish. So yeah. So my son, my son, he's called Tyson. We called him Little Ty. So when you call me Little Ty, it was just funny. Anyway, that's enough about me. I just derailed the podcast.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I think this is a great conversation. We should leave it there until next week.
Okay, that'd be fantastic. I look forward to speaking again. And then, Big Jim. Okay,
all right, Tyson.
bye.
Talk to you then. Bye now.